All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Arthur with Innovative Journaling. Welcome to our weekly Wednesday workshop. And so we're going to get started pretty quick. I made a recording of me sewing this up right here. You can see the braided stitch on there, just like that. I did it in blue thread for contrast purposes. I had to record this because it's an overhead setup, because I put this in between my legs to sew it so I can get tension a little bit on the braid there. Before we start, one person asked about, can we do it with different colored threads? And the answer totally is yes. You can do, you can do a solid one color, or you can do three colors. Just instead of, because we use 3 threads and 6 needles, you can just make each thread a different color. Here, I got this from Royalwood. Check it out. These are all of the, let's see if I can put this on a background here. These are all the different colors of thread that are available from Royalwood. So there you go. And okay, so in this workshop, like I said, we're going to sew up this book right here, and I'll be monitoring chat during the recording, and then I'll be on afterwards live for any questions or comments and all that, and I'll be letting people into the room as they come on. All right, let's get started with the recording. Hey everybody, I'm Arthur with Innovative Journaling, and in this video we are going to sew up the braided stitch just like this, and we're going to do it from your kit here, right here. So you have pages, they're all pre-punched, and you have your cover and threads and needles. Now you're going to need 6 needles with this, and you should have got them in your kit, and 3 threads. We're going to sew this with blue thread for contrast. You probably have black wax linen thread. And yeah, so let's get going. Okay, here we are. So what we've got is our book here, and first thing I'm going to do, in case you want to duplicate this and make your own, one of the things that's important, and you'll notice I'm sitting in a chair today, and so the only way I know how to sew this book, because we're braiding it, is to put it in between my legs and do the braid and sew it, because that's how we have to keep tension to get a nice braid, and we'll talk about that as we go through this. But we're going to need, in this particular stitch, we need 1 thread for each section, okay? Now, we can do 3 sections, 6 sections, 9 sections. It can be made as thick as you want. And we might have kits for those, even up to 9 sections later on. But for right now, this kit will serve for all 4 sizes, the Companion, the Pathfinder, the Soul, and the Da Vinci. And it's just a matter of more or less braids on the spine. There's only 1 braid in the Companion. There's 2 in the Pathfinder, 2 in this one, the Soul size, and there are 3 in the Da Vinci size. And that's all going to be pretty simple to do with this, illustrating it with this one size journal. Okay, so how much thread do we use? We go 1 inch over on each side, and we need 3 lengths. So 1, 2, 3. Now, when I say 1 inch over, it's like approximate. It's not rocket science. We're going to have some left over at the end. And so then I'm just going to, measure out my 3 threads here, like this, on the spool. We have a little spool of blue here, right, just like that. Okay, and then the next thing we do is we take our 6 needles here, like this, and I can zoom in a little more here for you, and there we go. And we're going to put 1 needle on each side of the thread. Okay, so you go ahead and thread your needles while I thread mine. If I beat you, not saying that I will, but if I do beat you, just pause the video and catch up. That's all. Okay. And the wax linen thread is nice because you can like twist it. See how I twist it there, and it kind of stays. So that's nice. So here's one thread. See here. Let me zoom out a little bit here. You can see the whole thread right there, and I have one needle on each side, and we're going to do that for all 3 threads. You see, I got my scissors here, my needles here, everything's together. Okay, let's go back and zoom in some. There we go. Okay, second thread. And the needles we give you on this are not really sharp like you would think a needle is. These are darning needles, and so you can see how it's getting depressed into my finger like that. They're darning needles, and so they're not very sharp, and that's great because the last thing you want to do is poke a needle through your finger. And so, and they just work better because you're not putting holes in the paper if you miss, the hole that's pre-punched or something like that. So here we are with the second one. I'll put that right there, and one more to go. So this book, when you sew it, it takes a little bit more experience because you are working with 6 needles and 3 threads here. And the book will seem awkward if you've never sewn up a book like this. It's going to seem awkward at first because you're only going to start connecting it up here at the top, and you have all these pages just flopping around. After you do a couple, 3, 4 of these, that will all go away. All right, so here's what I want you to do now. Take out your signatures, but keep them, all set up. Now, the way you can tell which ones face the back and which ones face the front is, check this out. You see on the front how straight it is here, and look at the back, the flip side. You see how there's that fan of paper over there? That's called creep, and that's because it takes more length of paper to go from this all the way around on the back end. It takes more length than it does on the inside sheet. So that's what you get. And we put this toward the back, so it makes it very easy to know how to orient your pages. So this will be the back part. This will be the front part. Also, if you're lucky enough to get a logo, I don't know if you can see the logo or the watermark on there. It says Arsh, because that's the paper. That's our main paper that we use, and it's a freaking amazing paper. The Arsh mills were founded in 1492. Okay, put your other two signatures on the side, and when I say on the side, you're going to be using them right away. I mean, just like on the side, like I put mine right here. Just put them somewhere convenient where you can grab them, and then take your needles, 1 thread and 2 needles, like this, just like this here, and stagger your needles. Just like that, right there. I can't zoom this in any more than I already have. All right, now you've got 2 holes at the top here, and this is all symmetric. So you've got two of these holes at the top. Put both needles. First, let's do this. I start with the signature on the right. Okay, you can start with the left or the right or the middle. It does not matter. This is how I've done it for over 20 years. I like things in order. So the first signature I'll start in first, the second, and then the third one. That's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can be you could be disorderly, all right? That's totally cool. All right, so take these 2 needles and put them in the second hole, just like that. You'll see them come out. Now, don't let go of them and don't pull them through. Just hold on to them and take the top 2 holes here and stick it in the corresponding hole. You see you've got 2 holes, so you're going to take this and put it in the second hole of your signature because they're meant to all line up. And here, I'm going to do, in case you can't get both of them, let's just do one at a time. So I'm going to put one in there like this, and then it's going to come out and stick it through the top hole and bring it out in the corresponding like this. So here's what we have so far. It's gone in here through the paper, and then it's come out through the paper and then back through the cover. Let's do that with the second one now, with the second needle. When I do this, I take it for granted because I've been doing it for so long, but I just put both of them together and put them in there. But okay, go in here, second hole again, just follow the same way you did it, into the second hole there. Be careful not to split your thread. What is splitting your thread? It's when this is 5-ply wax linen thread. So if you were to sew through this, through the middle of the thread, you'd have 3 plies on one side, 2 plies on another. That's splitting your thread. You don't want to do that. Okay, I pulled it through here. Then I'm going to go back in that top hole, or the first hole, and right out in the front, like that. And then I'm going to line these two up together. Now, this is the hardest part, really, starting it. And you see, I'm going to pull them so that now everything's equal in length. And then I have a loop there. And I'm just going to take these 2 threads and pull them, put them in the loop, and then I'm going to pull tight. Now I'm going to pull in the direction that I'm sewing. So I'm sewing from top to bottom, so that's the direction I'm going to pull. I'm not going to pull up like this. I'm going to pull down. How much tension do you need? Just enough to make it taut. If you want to put a twist or make these parallel, these 2 threads here, this is the time to do it. And then you can just give each one a little tug, tighten it up, and there you have it. And that's the first one. We're going to do the same thing for all 3. And let me show you the book here that's already sewn. I'm sorry it's in black thread, but you can see here, this is how it gets started. We just did this right here. And once we get all 3 in, we're going to start braiding it down, moving down. And then I'll show you how to do this middle part and finish it off. Okay, same deal. Just take one needle, put it through the second hole, like that. We're going to do the exact same thing we did on the first one. And then get your other signature. And you see how I hold my pages? I have my thumb on the outside and one finger on one side and one on the other so I can hold it open. This gives me a lot better control of my signatures. It's how I do it. It's not how you have to do it. You'll discover your own method. So anyway, that goes in the corresponding hole in the signature, and then we're going to go out the top hole just like that. Pull this tight, see that? And then there's our first one. And then let's go back in to this hole, same hole here that we went in before. And you see how I'm moving my signature so I can see the hole and just putting it in there, not splitting my thread at all, just putting the needle next to my thread. And this is another reason why I just double them up. I double up my thread. I just do them both together so I don't have to worry about splitting a thread. Okay, here's where we are now. I got this big fat loop there. We've got unequal lengths here. We're going to make these 2 equal, the needles, and we're just going to pull a little bit, and then I'm going to push this through that loop, and bam, tighten it up. There we go. There and there. Okay, and now I'm going to do this last one a little quicker, okay? So once again, just take your first thread, put it through there. Now you've probably paused this video at least once because it's your first time doing it. It could be a little confusing, but don't lose heart. And remember that we have our Saturday workshops once a month for 2 hours. And if you have trouble with this kit, we will help you make it right there live. I'll be there live on Zoom. All right, let's see. Let's put this second one here in there and then back out the top like that. And there we are. Okay, pull that out. Lots of threads here. Lots of threads. Okay, there we go. There's our little loop. Put both of our needles through it like that and just pull. And then if there is any slack left, you can just take it out individually. So there you have it. Now what we've got is 3 3 lines, 2 threads each right here. And now we're going to start braiding. So this is where I tuck it, I close the book up, and I tuck it in between my legs, just like this. So if you've, I mean, most of you have braided hair or have braided something in your lifetime. And this is no different than that. The only thing is that we do a flat braid. Do you have to do a flat braid? No. We think it looks better. I think it looks better. This is how I've been doing it for over 20 years. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just braid it. So to do that, and some of you watching this probably already have this braided down to here, and you're just waiting for me to get there. Sorry about that. Okay, so go ahead and just follow me what I'm doing. I'm taking the middle one, going to the left, putting this over, and I'm taking the right one now and going over that one. So this is what we have. Check it out. Look at that. And you see how everything is flat and not twisted? Now we're going to just always, everyone is going to the middle, and you're just going over the middle set of threads there. Like that, like that, like that. You see how that wanted to twist there? It wanted to go like this. Don't do that. Keep it flat. It looks better. And that's in my opinion, actually. And that's what I mean by a flat braid. We keep everything flat. The orientation of your thread always faces up, one direction. It doesn't get twisted over and then goes down and then gets twisted back and goes up. It's always facing up when you do this braid. Let me show you an example of something that's twisted. So if I go like this, I take my thread and I wrap it around like that. Let's see here if I can do that. Yeah, like that. Can you all see that? That is what I don't like to do. That's kind of twisted over. I want to keep it flat, just like that. Flat. Oops. Here, just flat like that. Okay, let's keep going. So we're going to braid this all the way down till we get to just above the holes here. And so how tight do we make the braid? That's a total aesthetic. I don't like my braids like super, super tight and tiny. The tighter you make them, the shorter they are. I like them, and I don't like them really loose. Like loose would be like this. That would be really loose. I don't like that either. You may. I like something in between, and so that's how I'm sewing up or braiding up this book. Okay, so there's there. Let's get to the bottom here. I used to have a partner in this business, and man, she could braid so freaking fast. It was incredible. Okay, you see how close that is? Let's maybe go one more there. Okay, right about there is perfect. You see how this is in relation to the holes? Now, here's another part you got to pay attention to. We have 6 threads here, and we have 6 holes here. All right, so just make note of that. And then we have I'm going to call them the innies and the outies. So the innies, here's the innies, the ones in the middle here, and here's the outies, the ones on the outside. Whatever goes in this hole, the innie hole, comes out the innie hole. Whatever goes inside the outie hole comes out the outie hole. Okay, we're going to show you how that plays out, but just keep that in mind. So you can see here, you see how where these threads are all going to go in, just like this and like this. So, and in keeping with not twisting anything, these threads are just going to go. This one will go on the top. This one will go on the bottom hole. If we were to twist these up, it would be like this. You see that twist in there? And you may like that, but that's not how I sew it. You can do it either way, though. Okay, there we go. And it's the same thing over here. You've got these two that that will be going in those holes. And then for the center one, whatever's closest to this top hole is the one I use. And this one is closest here. If we had it coming out here, you know, the end of the braid coming out here, then this one it would be closest to that top hole, the inside. So, but we don't. We have it this way. Okay, there we are. So I'm going to start by doing the center first. Why do I do the center first? Because it tends to act as an anchor. And so that's what I do first. And I typically will do my inside holes first. So I'm going to put this in right in this second hole here, right there. See that? And go through and put it through the corresponding hole right into, you know, the inside hole, right into this signature. So this is what I have here. You can see where the needle's coming out. I'm sewing on the middle signature. I'm in the middle right here. And this is what you got to get used to. You've got 6 threads here, and they're like all over the place. You will learn to deal with that. If this is your first time sewing this, it will get so much easier, even on your second one. Okay, we'll pull that out. And remember I said, whatever goes inside, the innies stay together. We're going to come out right there on an inside, on the other inside hole. See that? Oops, that's the wrong signature. That's the other thing. You got to make sure you put it in the right hole. So we want to come out on the middle signature. So there you go, just like this. Pull it taut, take out the slack, like that, and let's do our other hole. So the other hole, oops, you know what I did? I'm glad I made that mistake. Because I like, is it wrong that I sewed it in there? No, not at all. But I want to put this closer one up at the top. So I'm going to take, I just pulled that out. I had to unthread my needle. Let's thread it back up again. Here. All right. So I'm going to put this one in the second hole here, because I always like to start with my middle holes like this. So that we'll just do that right there. And same deal right here. So that's where we are. That's better. Now it won't twist. And then we're going to take this one and put it in that first hole on top there, and then put it, and then go over these 2 holes and put it in on the outie hole right there, like that. And there's that. Now when I do this, I'm going to show you another way to do this too. So you can do those individually, or you can do them together. I'm going to do them individually again here on the side, and then I'm going to do them together on this side. And together is just I put both these threads in at the same time. That's all. So, but you see how that kind of anchors the book? Now I've got it anchored and centered up and all. And then I don't pull, you know, this way or this way on it. It'll be perfectly centered. You won't pinch the braid right there. That's another thing you have to be careful for with tensioning. Okay, so let's do this, get this done first. So see these threads here? So I don't want to twist them. So I'm doing it like that versus like this. So there we are. This will go in that hole, and I got to get to the right signature here, and there we are. And it'll go back in the other innie hole right there. And then this one goes in the top hole like that and comes out like that. Now see here, here's another thing. You see how all these threads get kind of muddled up in there? Don't worry about that. Just all you got to do is pull them out. This happens, and because you've got all these threads you're working with here. All right, and then take this and just pull it taut, just like that. See there? You don't want to be pulling it too tight, or else you'll be pinching the bottom of the braid. And so for this last one, I'm just going to put both these needles in and then take them out here. So let's do that. I'll just start with the top one. Here I'm putting in the top one. There. And I'll put the bottom one in. Right there. And notice how these are both These are both, oopsie. I'm going to get a little better than that. There we go. So we've got these, and then I'll take just the inside one and push that back through the inside. There. So it runs into there, like that. And the other one, the outie, will go into the outie hole over here. Now, if you're sewing the Da Vinci size, you're going to do this 3 times. This is the sole. For the sole and the Pathfinder size, you're doing it 2. If you have a companion size, we're going to show you how to end it, and you're going to skip this whole middle part. Okay? So if you're doing a companion, you can just fast forward to the end, and once we get out of this braid, you can imagine that's the bottom of your single braid. Okay. So basically, once you get the braid to here, if you have a companion journal, just fast forward to the end where we do this. All right, now let's take each one individually, and we just want to pull any slack that might remain on the inside out. Don't pull too tight, and pull in the direction you're sewing. Like that and like that. Okay, and we're going to start braiding again the same way. So we have our 3 rows of 2 threads. And we're just going to start braiding. And you want to start up, bring this braid up as high as you can. Right there. I want to bring it up as high as you can. It will sag down a little bit as you get started here. That's why we want to bring them up as high as we can. And there we are. Okay, let's put this in between my legs again. That just holds it so I can have tension on it. And we're going to go run through the braid again. So on this braid, when we end, we're going to leave a little more space between the holes. But let's go through this. You see how I'm just flat braiding it? Same way as I did the top one. And every couple braids, you want to make sure your threads are separated out. Otherwise, they can get tangled at the bottom. Oopsie, it's too far. Okay, where are we? Okay, right. Okay, this is good. So you see right here, that's a little farther apart than this was. And that's where we're going to finish our braiding. Now, if you've got the companion journal, this is where you want to start in again because you're at the end of your first braid for the companion. If you've got the Da Vinci, you're at the end of your 3rd braid. And for the Pathfinder and the sole size, you're at the end of your 2nd braid. And so what we're going to do at this point is we're going to separate these 3 out and just keep them separate. Like I hold these 2 and this one separately. And then you're going to flip the book upside down. And this is how you're going to finish it off. Okay. Once again, we want to anchor by sewing in the middle one first. Okay, so on this stitch, everything goes in these 3 holes first. So the holes closest to the edge, all your threads are going to go in that hole first. So let's do that with the middle one here. Okay. All right. So inside there, and then into the corresponding signature, and the first thread is going to come out. Not go through the leather, but it's going to come out and stay right here. See that? And that's it. That's how your first one's going to look. The second thread that you put in there, which is this one, it's going to go in that same hole, the one closest to the edge, and only this time, and I'm going to make this parallel here, right there, like that. The second time, though, you're going to go through both the hole, the paper, and the hole, the cover hole, right there like that. And then you're just going to, you see how there's the threads that we just sewed from right there? You're going to cross over those and come back into just the cover like that. So you see the loop here, how we looped, let me get this off a little bit. You see how we looped over those holes there, or over these threads here? And then we came right back into the cover. And that's the first one. Okay, Now let's do another one. I'm going to do the one on the right. I'm right-handed, so that's what I do. Once again, if you want to keep your threads parallel, just do that. And I'm going to take one of my threads and put it through the same way. Put it through this hole closest to the end, through the paper, the cover and the paper, and then back out through the paper only. See that? And so that's going to be, and I'm going to pull it, because now I'm moving in this direction, so I'm going to pull it that direction. And then the second one is going to go through in here. Make it, I like it parallel, so I'll leave it that way. And then same thing, go in through the second hole, out through the cover. And this will go back in. It'll loop over these two threads here and go back in just the cover only. You see that? There we are. So we're reversing this basically. And now I've got two left. So, and by the way, when I sew these, I put these in individually on this side. I don't do them two at a time. Into that hole closest to the edge, corresponding holes in your paper signature. And let's get them through there. There we go. Back through the second hole and out through the paper only. And then just take the slack out of it, like that, right there. Second one comes in through the cover and the paper, all right, and then back out through both the paper and the cover, like that. And then you're gonna, go under these like that. See that? Just hook over them and go back in just the hole in the cover only. And when I pull this tight, you see how it grabs it? And that's it. Okay, so this is how it looks so far, right? And you can see how I've left a little more length there, a little more space there, just so like it is on the top. And there's less down here. All right, let's tie these off and we're finished. All right, so all I do is I simulate a square knot. So I'm going to just give this a little tug, and then I'm going to go, I have my left thread and my right thread. I'm going to go left over right, make my granny knot, and now I have two threads also, another left and a right. I'm going to take the right one and go over the left. Left over right, right over left, or vice versa. That's a square knot. And then I'll leave a tiny bit of tail, just right there, and I'll just tuck it in. And because this is wax linen thread, it tends to stick together real nicely. All right, same deal here. Pull it taut, left over right, right over left. There we go. And there. And the last one. And sometimes I take the needles off first, sometimes I don't. Pull that taut, left over right, right over left for that square knot. And if you're using polyester thread on these, you're making your own, you're using polyester thread, then just put a little dab, a very little dab of super glue on there, and that'll hold it for you, because the polyester thread can tend to slip. The wax linen thread really doesn't do that. And here we have our book, our sole size. Now, if you're doing a Da Vinci size, you're going to do one more of these. So you can go back to this section. Oops, sorry. We're going to go back to this. You can go back to this section here and then continue on and then finish off like we did there. So, and that's it. Here's the book. And we're done sewing it up. Okay, remember, we have weekly Wednesday workshops. And okay, that was it. Any questions? Either unmute and chime in, or... Oh, Jeannie, you're on. Nice to see you. What was I saying? Oh, and for those of you who came in late, there will be a replay of this. I'll get it up as soon as I can. Probably send it out tomorrow. And we have that playlist link. That's where it will be. Gina just put it on there. And I wanted to show you all, I did this in the beginning. Here's the thread colors from Royalwood. See these all? They have a whole bunch of colors. And we're probably going to get some of these colors. And then they have 3 different thread thicknesses on the bottom. Or 4. So there's that. And then for our sewing machines, here's all the thread colors we get to pick from. I asked our supplier to get some. We need to buy 20 pounds of thread at a time. That's our minimum order per color. So have to pick carefully on that. This weekend is a Saturday morning is our 2-hour workshop. And these will be available in kits in 4 sizes coming up this weekend too. So let's see, I got a message here. Oh, Gabriel, is that this one? Gabriel, are you the one who won this journal? Yes, no? Let's see here. Gabriel put a message in there. Here, I'm going to end this and then we can chat. So everyone, thanks for joining us today. Next week, I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we'll see you then. Oh, and one last thing. These closure kits are going to be made available so you can put them on your finished journal. Like that. Okay, see you all next week.